Python 2 is a 2002 creature feature directed by Lee McConnell. A trucker and his wife are hired by the CIA to transport stolen cargo out of a foreign military base, which turns out to be a giant mutant snake. But before we get into this slithery sequel, I just want to ask that if you end up enjoying this video, then please think about hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel. And if you do, make sure to hit the bell icon so you never miss any of my videos. It would really help me out. So thanks. Also, there will be full spoilers ahead, but if that doesn't bother you, then grab your Poison Arrow frog-flavoured popcorn and whip out your sequelitis medication as we dive into Python 2. So the movie begins somewhere in Russia, because exactly where is not important. And we follow these soldiers around a military base before we get the title card, which I think we can all agree looks very, very crap. Almost as crap as this set. I mean, come on, what did they make this out of? Cardboard and tin foil? Anyway, the soldiers are getting briefed on their mission by this fella.
My name is Colonel Robert Evans Jefferson Jr.
Recently, I've been spending all my time
training to kill you.
I don't think he's very good at inspiring confidence. But their actual mission is to capture a
85-foot, 12-ton python.
Which is not going to be as easy as it sounds.
So I want to make one thing perfectly clear. I'm a black man.
Bullshit.
And what the hell is that lime green shuttlecock looking thing? I really want to throw a ping pong ball into it. So off they go to capture the giant snake, with Colonel Junior saying,
Now listen up! Small arms fire only!
I'm looking at you, Thalidomide Bill. Way ahead of you, Chief. So they arrive at their destination and search this massive cave for the snake, when the abseiling team begin to open fire.
What the hell are you shooting at?
I'll give you a hint. It begins with sn and ends in ache. Well, leave that sneezing cake alone and shoot the giant python, damn it! So they keep shooting at the snake, which is just off screen to save money.
Alpha 1 requesting immediate reinforcement.
Roger, Alpha 1.
Our order was to supply you with one team and transport the target.
He's not even doing a Russian accent. He's just bloody mumbling. Then we get our first glimpse of the snake as it eats one of the soldiers in a shot so quick and blurry I've slowed it down for you. Jesus, paragliding Christ. I guess that's what you get if you render your visual effects on a Game Boy Advance. So Colonel Junior tells the troops to lure it away so he can pump it full of
500,000 amps of pure power.
You are talking about zapping the snake with the electric gun, aren't you? Because I'm not doing this just so you can get your freak on. So they force it out of hiding with a grenade and zap it with their zappy guns. And bloody hell, how are the visual effects worse than the first movie?
Well, Sergeant, look like you made your government $50 million richer.
Now hold still while I take a picture, so I can remember this moment in the future. Then we get some pants-shittingly egregious opening credits which last for over 2.5 bloody minutes. It also shows snippets from the rest of the movie, kinda like how Mission Impossible does, only edited by someone on drugs. Oh, and I'm pretty sure the music used is just me dicking about on a keyboard. Then we see this plane transporting the snake, and the cameraman on board has possibly the worst case of the wibbles I have ever seen. Then these baddies rock up looking to take down the plane and steal its cargo. They fire a rocket at the plane which hits one of the engines, and now it's going down, so the pilot activates the self-destruct, which asks, are you sure you want to self-destruct? Now that I think about it, I actually want to live. What do you think, Phil? Actually, yeah, it's my dog's wedding next week, so I'd like to be there. So the baddies loot the crash site, but then the Russian military show up and blast them. And this guy on the left clearly forgot to load his gun as there's no muzzle flashes. So he just jiggles a bit so he doesn't feel left out. Anyway, they find the snake container, and if you're telling me an 85-foot snake can fit in that tiny box, then
I am Mickey Mouse!
How dare he?
That container's barely big enough to fit a large dog. Elsewhere, we see these fellas gawking at this lady thinking, oh yeah, get a load of that. Those trousers look great. I might buy some for my wife, who I'm very faithful to. Then we meet our protagonist, SpongeBob Rectangle Head, his wife, Americandy, and his mate, Gibbon, who run their own goods transportation business and have just wrapped up delivering some worthless crap to this guy who should spend more time choosing his attire and less time dyeing his hair orange. Unfortunately, SpongeBob gets $3 less than he was expecting, so Beardo gives him this small brown thing as compensation. SpongeBob ain't happy though, so he says,
Pack it up, we're out of here!
But he's stopped by the least threatening goons of all time. So he licks his fingers, probably because he had a bit of ketchup left on them from his lunch, before he whips round and launches the small brown thing at Beardo's face, and in doing so puts all their lives in danger. The idiot. And who shows up at the last second to save them? None other than Johnny Lawrence from the first Python movie. Yay! He tells Beardo to back off or he'll drink all his hair dye, while SpongeBob stands around looking like the only thing going through his mind is bah! So they have a walk and talk with Johnny, who wants to hire their transportation services. And good lord, check out how terrible the editing is in this movie.
Alright, listen up guys. A couple days ago we had an American plane go down in eastern Russia, a cargo plane. Fortunately for us, some of the locals investigated it.
Oh, that's rougher than sandpaper on a chapped arse. So the couple agreed to take the job because accepting a job for $100,000 from a stranger couldn't possibly have any downsides. Meanwhile, at this Russian military base, they're inspecting the case from the crashed plane, which is significantly bigger than it was earlier, but still not big enough to house an 85-foot snake. And this guy says,
I'm detecting movement inside.
I do not want that opened yet.
somebody get this fella an Academy Award so we can watch him try and eat it. But the case opens anyway because it's case opening o'clock. Yellow! My least favourite colour! Then the snake pops out of the case and starts wrecking the joint. So General Cabbage has a little defensive wibble in the corner as the snake runs amok through the base. Back to SpongeBob and Americandy, who are doing what all married couples do in their free time, playing catch the baseball. And bloody hell, I swear this guy's head's getting more angular each time we see him. Anyway, Americandy is having second thoughts on accepting Johnny's offer, but SpongeBob says they need the $100,000 so he can finally buy a t-shirt that fits. Elsewhere, and holy shit! Hide your daughters and prepare to go weak at the knees, folks, cause here come the badasses! Man, they're so cool, my coffee's gone cold. It's a good job I like cold coffee then, otherwise I'd been well pissed off. So the Spenge Brigade turns up, Johnny introduces them to the team, and off they go on their snake capturing adventure. Soon they arrive at the military base and get tooled up, and SpongeBob is like, "Oh, so you're going paintballing? Well, you could have invited us. Don't even know if this is worth the $100,000 now." So Johnny and his team start scoping out this building.
Crowley, status.
Windows. Multiple windows. And I think there's someone inside filming us. That's the cameraman making the movie we're in, you cretin. One of the soldiers climbs this small tower and says, "Yep, just as I thought. I can't see anything more than when I was on the ground." Back to the truck and Gibbon says he's going for a piss, but ends up climbing that small tower so he can have a gander. And wouldn't you know it? He sees bugger all too because nothing is happening in this goddamn movie. Even Goatee McGree is bored out of his mind, so his mate offers him a cigar.
Nah.
I don't want to risk singeing me precious beard. Oh, but hold on. Looks like Johnny's found something. Oh, what is it? A corpse? A shedded snake skin? Nope, it's just bloody clothes. AKA clothes with blood on. AKA nothing! Oh my god! Something please happen! My coffee's starting to warm up just through my sheer bloody anger! Turns out I'm not the only one who's frustrated, as Americandy finds SpongeBob punching the back of the truck.
What are you doing?
Lost my temper.
Oh, for what? Nothing's happened!
Sorry I got you into this.
Got you into what? Then Gibbon shows up and says,
You gotta see this.
so they all climb the small tower and SpongeBob says,
What the hell happened here?
by the looks of it, absolutely nothing! Meanwhile, Johnny and his team head down into this bunker which seems to be made out of Ferrero Rocher, and one of his team reports,
I found the access.
"Good to know. If we need to chop some wood, we'll use them." But then the snake sneaks up on him, so he lets rip with his flamethrower, right next to these explosive barrels, which was somewhat foolish to say the least. And just as Goatee McGree walks in, the shed explodes, singeing his precious beard after all. The Spenge Brigade go and see what happened, but this much excitement is bad for SpongeBob's chin, so he tells Johnny that they're leaving. Seriously, could he not have hired anyone more reliable than this pillock? Back at the vehicles, the snake attacks one of Johnny's men, and not only makes him do an unnecessarily long scream, but it also sets one of the truck's wheels on fire for some reason. So it looks like they're going to be walking home, and Johnny gives SpongeBob a check for $100,000 and tells them to leave.
Here you go. Paid in full.
But instead of simply walking to the nearest town, they decide to stay because they're idiots.
Alright, look. I'm sorry I got you into this situation. But I'm telling you right now, if you tag along, I'm not responsible for you.
Which is fairly reasonable if you ask me. And bloody hell, his head is taking the piss now. So they all head down into the Ferrero Rocher bunker, and it's not long before they're attacked by the snake, which they hold off with a barrage of gunfire.
You guys aren't afraid of snakes, are you?
Dude, you just punched the guy who gave you $100,000 and the opportunity to leave, which you didn't take. This guy is a prick But their bullets don't keep the snake at bay for long, so they climb up onto this platform trying to escape. Well, except for Gibbon, who thinks it's a good idea to stand out in the open and shoot at it like a bell end. So the snake squirts him with acid before giving him the chomp. Henchman number 1 lobs a grenade to give them a chance to retreat, but the flash temporarily blinds Americandy, and probably did bugger all to the snake, so well done. And we also get another Jungle Jim bastard climbing up like a maniac. Man, I'm gonna have to take a note of all these Jungle Jim bastards! Bastards! So they make their way past this barricade and see a sign which no one can understand.
Anybody read Russian?
Aye, I can read it, pal. It says, Okto Pauho, Kobni Ordan, Ikno Bunera, B3 or Nacho N, Pabatoni. And what does that mean? How the fuck should I know? Anyway, Johnny finds the container the snake was in and begins to take his sample, when SpongeBob walks in and asks who he really works for.
I'm CIA.
Oh, so he applied for the FBI and got into the CIA. Makes sense. I applied for a pilot's license and got told to fuck off. And he tells SpongeBob that the snake is a government experiment which got loose, just like in the first movie. So the government made a giant snake twice and let it get loose and go on a rampage. Twice. Hell, when you put it like that, we sound pretty incompetent, don't we?
So now you know the whole ugly truth. Now tell me something.
Why the long face? Bah! And Johnny gets a call from his superiors saying he now has 2 hours before the area is sanitised. And I mean with an airstrike, not with a packet of antibacterial wipes. But what I want to know is why the hell are all these door frames so small? I reckon the architect was about 5'5" and had it in for anyone taller. So Johnny and his men go looking for an escape route and tell the others to stay put till they're back.
Stay with her.
Nah, mate, I thought I'd just wander off and leave my temporarily blind wife on her own. But then he hears a noise, and despite her even saying,
"Don't you leave me,"
Dingus Dongus over here does exactly that! Man, this character is a tosser with a capital dickhead. And to make matters worse, he gets knocked out by someone, which turns out to be General Cabbage, who then attacks Americandy saying,
Why did you bring this hell to my base?
What are you talking about? You brought the snake to the base yourself! Thankfully, SpongeBob saves her by bonking Cabbage with the fire extinguisher Cabbage bonked him with.
I son of a bitch!
Damn it, Nolia.
I told you not to leave me.
Sorry.
Nah, mate, you left your blind wife alone and she nearly got choked to death. You are never gonna hear the end of it. Meanwhile, Frankie No Fringe gets attacked by the snake, which gives him a good chomp before tossing him into oblivion. Johnny then finds his gun on the ground and says, Son of a bitch. As if you leave a gun lying on the floor. I could have tripped over that and bruised me gooch. But then, plot twist for the muckers, there's actually 2 giant snakes. So hang on, you're telling me that small container, which clearly wouldn't have fit one 85-foot snake in it, actually had 2 in it?
That's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard.
So Johnny and the gang go and tell SpongeBob and Americandy the bad news.
Our way's blocked out by fire.
Sorry, say that again?
Our way's blocked out by fire.
Don't you mean our way out is blocked by fire? No, Spenge, you rectangle fuck!
We need C4 to blast through the flames.
Or we could just use the fire extinguisher I knocked out General Cabbage with to put out the flames. Shut up, Spenge, we're using the C4 to explode the fire and that's that! Only problem is the C4 is in the truck outside. So in their infinite wisdom, they decide the blind lady is going to have to crawl through the ventilation system and go get it. I can't. I just can't. The stupidity is too much, man. SpongeBob protests and says,
Forget it. No way.
It's our only chance, daughter.
No.
For God's sake, will you stop scratching your ass while I'm talking to you? The hell is wrong with you, like? So off Americandy goes through the vents, and the others realise General Cabbage has run off, but they find him in the next room destroying a phone and saying,
The world will know of this. I've told them. The world will know of this. I've told them. I've told them.
with one phone call in 30 seconds? What? Meanwhile, Americandy manages to make her way through the vents, out the base, through the forest, and to the van, all while blind. She fills her bag and she heads back inside, but comes across one of the snakes on the way. She tries to evade it, and I assume she can see now because there's no bloody way she'd be able to do any of this while blind. And I kid you not,
hold on to your butts.
she manages to get back to everyone without going through the ventilation system! So why in God's name don't they just go out the way that she came in? What do they even need the dynamite for? You mean the C4? It doesn't matter, Ken! It literally doesn't matter! Whoa, it's alright, lad. It's just a movie. Is it though, Ken? Is it though? So they all set off to go and explode the fire out of the way, which is the stupidest thing ever. But while they're on the precarious walkway, General Cabbage rocks up shouting, "Don't leave me!" Mate, you are not coming with us. You're weird. And not the good, quirky kind of weird. The smelly, gross kind. Then one of the snakes pops up, gives him the chomp, then sods off. But then the second snake attacks too and breaks the walkway, with Henchman 1 hanging on for dear life. SpongeBob tries to save him, but both he and the snake fall into the abyss. I don't know why I'm bothered, because I didn't know him well at all, but still, no! So while Henchman 2 goes to set the C4, Johnny calls his superiors to tell them to call off the incoming airstrike.
This is Larson, the game is not over, reset the clock. You fucking hang on for me!
What happened?
The call went well, obviously. Oh look, your shoelace is undone. Then when SpongeBob and Americandy show up, Johnny knocks out Spenge and gives Americandy a backhanded schmack, because apparently he's the baddie now. Oh great, and now they've ruined the best character by making him a baddie. He detonates the C4 to explode the fire out of the way, but then he gets SpongeBobbed, and the two of them throw down, which ends up in a bit of a standoff as Americandy picks up the detonator for the last of the C4. But the standoff doesn't last for long, as one of the snakes slithers up behind Johnny and... Right, that's it, I'm done! Hey, where do you think you're going? The movie isn't over! Screw this goddamn movie! And he's gone. Oh dear, looks like it's up to me to finish it. Right, here we go. So, Johnny is wrapped up tighter than gift-wrapped pantyhose. SpongeBob picks up the last of the C4 and throws it into the snake's mouth. Then Americandy hits the detonator, which causes the snake to explode. Then the two of them leave before the airstrike hits, which kills the other snake, before they are found by the Russian military, and probably spend the rest of their lives in jail. End of movie. Right, I'm back, and I've got an idea. I'm going to change the end of the movie. I kind of just finished it myself while you were gone. Well, rewind the bastard, because I'm not having it end like that. So after the C4 is set up, Johnny notices his mate has got a spider on his head. So Johnny tries to shoot it off, but ends up shooting his mate in the head instead. Then SpongeBob and Americandy rock up with the snake right behind them, and Johnny says, "Stand back, you shit characters! I've got this." And he shoots lasers out of his eyes, which makes the snake explode. Then the three of them run outside, and Johnny's got a jetpack and a rocket launcher now, and he blows up the other snake. Then the Russian military show up, and SpongeBob goes, "Bah!" So they shoot him to death. Then Johnny picks up Americandy, and the two of them jetpack their way to the Maldives and get fucking hammered. End of movie. And there we have it, folks. Python 2 is bollocks. Sorry, but there's no sugarcoating this one. It's boring, makes no sense, the effects are terrible, and they ruin the best character from the first movie. I'd rather eat rocket dipped in Marmite than watch this shite again. So, Python 2, what did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you love it? Let me know in the comments below while I eat this clementine. It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.